Disclaimer, I'm not an expert, so before I did this, I just checked what the setting was on, and this is what the manual was suggesting. Important things were the lift angle, which is apparently 52 degrees for most watches, and I've just put the beat rate on automatic because I've got a lot of watches to check. So if you've got any suggestion on what I should have done, let me know. I've checked it in 3 positions: when you check your watch, when your wrist is resting on a table, and when your wrist is down. This Seiko SRP 777 has a 4R36 movement. The rate in 3 different positions were -3 to +28 seconds per day. The amplitude was 226 to 253 degrees and a beat error of 1 to 1.8 millisecond. My Omega Speedmaster with its 3861 movement shows -3 to +2 seconds per day, amplitude of 261 to 324 degrees, and a beat error of 0 to 0.1 milliseconds all throughout 3 positions. Now the Tudor Black Bay 58 with Tudor's MT5402 movement falls at -1 to 0 seconds per day with an amplitude of 265 to 296 degrees and a beat error of 0.1 to 0.3 milliseconds. So far, I'm happy with what I'm seeing on this Timegrapher, and I think it's fun doing this. It's a good to know information about my watches. And for my Hamilton Murph with its H10 movement, the rate is at 0 to +2 seconds per day, amplitude of 261 to 270 degrees, and a beat error of 0 to 0.1. This tells us to never underestimate an affordable watch. Expensive is not always the best option if you are particular with a watch's accuracy. Now my Zin 556 with its Sellita SW200-1 movement, a really impressive 0 to +1 second per day, amplitude of 277 to 304 degrees, and a beat error of 0.2 to 0.4 milliseconds. This is a great example of a well-engineered household movement. But it's not looking good for this Seiko SPB143 and its 6R35 movement, a staggering disappointment rate of -9 to -44 seconds per day, even with its amplitude of 212 to 243 degrees and beat error of 0.1 milliseconds. Moving on to my Longines Heritage Classic with its L893 movement, rate is -3 to -6 seconds per day, amplitude of 298 to 331 degrees, and a beat error of 0 to 0.2 milliseconds. And even the lowest amplitude of this watch, Blancpain System 51 movement, at 125 to 138 degrees beats the SPB143, coming in at a rate of -2 to -13 seconds per day and a beat error of 0.5 to 0.6 milliseconds. And to save Seiko's reputation, this SPB117's 6R35 movement has a rate of +1 to +9 seconds per day, amplitude of 246 to 271 degrees, and a beat error of 0 to 0.1 milliseconds. Now another Tudor, the Tudor Ranger, again the same MT5402 movement, coming in at a rate of -4 to 0 seconds per day, amplitude of 275 to 301 degrees, and a beat error of 0 to 0.2 milliseconds. Even this Seiko SRPC41, which is older than the SPB143, has a better rate of +1 to +13 seconds per day. Amplitude is on the lower spectrum of 203 to 213 degrees, however a really bad beat error of 2 milliseconds. But Citizen is here to save Japan. Housing its Miyota 9011 movement, it runs at a rate of +4 to +7 seconds per day, amplitude of 276 to 278 degrees, and a beat error of 0.3 milliseconds. Now my Tag Heuer Carrera glass box and its 2H20-00 movement, running in at -4 to 0 seconds per day, amplitude of 275 to 290 degrees, and a beat error of 0.1 milliseconds. And the Oris Aquis with its Caliber 400 movement is at a rate of +13 to +15 seconds per day, not bad at all, and an even stronger amplitude of 316 to 326 degrees and a beat error of 0.1 to 0.3 milliseconds. And coming in for the win is my old Rado. I don't know what the movement is, but at least it has an almost acceptable beat error of 0.2 to 1.5 milliseconds, and it's dear to me, so it doesn't really matter. So what do you think? Should I have some of my watches get checked, or are they acceptable?